Ah, Valentine's Day. Honestly, I'm more of a fan of tomorrow when a lot of the chocolates go on sale. Like last year, I just hung out with friends, we watched Buffy. And I think this year I'm hosting a Barbie animated movie marathon. But hey, I still wanted to dress up for today. I'm not really one for the romance stuff though. Are you? Let me know in the comments. And well, happy Valentine's Day, folks. Let's get into it. How about we kick off today with the origins of the day? Way back before it was known as such. So way back when, Romans celebrated the feast of Lupercalia from February 13th to the 15th every year. The men would sacrifice a goat and a dog, and then lash women with the hides of the animals they had just slain. Apparently the Roman romantics were usually very intoxicated and nude, according to experts. Young women would line up for the men to thrash them, under the belief that this would make them fertile. The ancient Romans may also be responsible for the name of our modern day of love. Emperor Claudius II executed two men, both named Valentine, on February 14th on different years in the 3rd century. Their martyrdom was honored by the Catholic Church with the celebration of St. Valentine's Day. So as the holiday spread, it evolved. Pope Gelasius I muddled things in the 5th century by combining St. Valentine's Day with Lupercalia to expel the pagan rituals. By the way, Lupercalia is mentioned in Shakespeare's Julius Caesar when Mark Antony is told by Caesar to thrash his wife, in the hope that she will become fertile. Alright, I think I'm getting a little muddled. Let me make things clear before we keep moving on. I'm personally very aware that Lupercalia and Valentine's Day are two separate holidays, but while Lupercalia can and does exist without the second, Valentine's Day doesn't exist without the other. Sadly, that's the case with a lot of the long-standing pagan holidays that Christianity has been able to warp and bastardize. So this new festival was more of a theatrical interpretation of what it had once been. Experts have mentioned that it was a little more of a boozy revel, but the Christians put clothes back on it. Thankfully, it didn't stop it from being a day of fertility and love. Around the same time, there was another celebration, Gallatin's Day. This meant lover of women, and was likely confused with St. Valentine's Day at some point since they sound so familiar. So as the years went on, the holiday grew sweeter. Folks like Shakespeare romanticized it in their work, and it gained popularity throughout Britain and the rest of Europe. Handmade paper cards became the tokens du jour in the Middle Ages, and eventually the tradition made its way to the New World. The Industrial Revolution ushered in factory-made cards in the 19th century, and in 1913, Hallmark Cards of Kansas City began mass-producing Valentines, and February has not been the same ever since. I just like the pink aesthetic. It's my favorite color. Here's another tradition that originated from Lupercalia, drawing a partner for the day. Alright folks, picture this. It's the 17th century, and you're at this Valentine's Day party. Everybody's all dressed up, we're all having a good time, but then they bring out this vessel, this bowl. Think of it like an ancient artifact. And inside there's slips of paper with people's names on it. And when you draw somebody's name, you're stuck with them for the whole evening. No thanks. Under these rules, you could end up spending Valentine's Day with somebody you barely know, or somebody you can't stand. Imagine being paired up with that annoying guy that you don't like, or I don't know, your ex's friend. No thanks, I'd rather spend the night binge watching rom-coms with my stuffed animals and a candy tray. And this whole thing was just a weird matchmaking scheme. If a guy drew a girl's name, he'd usually stick with her instead of the girl who picked his name. Oh yeah, everybody drew an individual name, and they didn't always match up. So then, he's gonna go off with who he wants, and then we're dealing with the aftermath. I get that it was supposed to be fun and all, but it sounds like a recipe for disaster. Imagine being stuck without a partner? I'm getting major picked last for school projects vibes. Also, apparently, people would wear these slips of paper with their partner's names on them for days afterwards. So you'd be walking around with random guy's name pinned to your shirt. Look, if you really liked them, sure, it's cute, it's fun, it's oh my god, look. But if not, it's yeah, I got Brad. Great. And who knows, maybe some of these forced pairings actually ended up turning into something real, but I'm guessing most of them were just awkward encounters that everybody wanted to forget. So yeah, as cute as Valentine's Day can be with all the chocolates and the flowers, maybe we should leave the lottery thing in the past, where it belongs. I'll take the single Pringle lifestyle over that any day. Okay, picky eaters, this next one might be icky for you. I know with my ADHD, there are just certain things I can't handle, and this might just take the cake today for the grossest thing. So get this, if you were hoping for a proposal on this very special day, or you wanted to strengthen your marriage, there was this wild solution that people thought was gonna work. Brace yourselves, folks. Back in medieval times, folks had this thing called love potions. And it wasn't like some cute little concoction you'd see in a fairy tale, no fairy godmother here with a cute little pink bottle. These potions were like something out of a modern day horror movie. People would mix together all these random ingredients, and they're like, hey, this is gonna mess with my body's psyche, make me fall head over heels in love, or you're gonna fall in love with me. Yeah, it sounds a little sketchy, right? How about we check out one from the 16th century together? You ready, folks? It involves mashing up earthworms with leeks, and then get this, eating the whole disgusting mess. I'm sorry, who in their right mind thought that would be a good idea? Like, I get they were desperate for love back then, and we still are now, but like, I draw the line at eating earthworms. Can you even imagine trying to serve that to somebody you like? Like, hey babe, I made you a special Valentine's Day dinner. It's earthworm and leek mush. Bon appetit. Yeah, I think that's gonna send anybody running for the hills, not professing their undying love. I'll stick to making my famous double chocolate cookies, or maybe molasses cookies, or chocolate caramel shortbread. We got options. Also, apparently there were some other really icky ingredients in these love potions. We're talking garlic, onions, musk. Like, no thank you, that's stinky. I don't care how much you love somebody, there's no way I'm drinking or eating any kind of concoction that's no. So yeah, as much as I love a good romance, I'll just stick to modern day love rituals. You know, sending cute texts, going on dates, I've heard about those. Maybe indulging in some chocolate covered strawberries. Because let's face it, nothing says I love you like a box of chocolates. Not a potion made of earthworms. Alright, we're moving on before I start yakking on camera. And like, I don't want to mess up my very cute Valentine's Day makeup. I have Galentine's plans later. Is anybody out there a fan of Married at First Sight? Personally, I'm not for a myriad of reasons. For starters, I'm not a big reality TV fan, and the thought of marrying somebody without knowing them first? Between you and me, I have a really bad habit of getting bored with romantic partners, so I can't imagine settling down on a whim. Heck, I can't even imagine like settling down or even dating with my current lifestyle. So apparently there was this whole belief back in the day that on Valentine's Day, women would fall head over heels for the first guy they laid eyes on, to the point where they had to marry them. And like, okay, I'm a Shakespeare girly. He totally played into this in Midsummer's Night Dream. I love talking about this play. It's my favorite work. I've actually been very lucky. I've been in 2 different productions of it in my lifetime. So you know that part where Queen Titania wakes up and she falls madly in love with the guy with the donkey head? Like, yes, Oberon cursed her to fall in love with Bottom, but a trope is a trope. So apparently that was based on some real life Valentine's folklore. I mean, can you even imagine waking up and finding yourself swooning over some random dude with a donkey head? Yeah, no thanks, I'll pass. And apparently there's also a British rhyme that goes something like, when I go out, the first swain I see, in spite of fortune shall my true love be. Yeah, I don't think my true love is gonna magically appear just because I happen to lock eyes with somebody on the street. Also, what if the first person you see is like, not your type? Are you just supposed to suck it up and settle? Also, because this is all like, oh, I'm gonna fall in love with a guy, it's a little too heteronormative for my liking. There's also this gem from Samuel Pepys' diary in 1662. So apparently his wife was so freaked out about this whole falling in love thing that she walked around on Valentine's Day with her hands over her eyes. Yeah, some people will call those extreme measures, but like, I get it. It's also just some next level paranoia. So yeah, as aesthetically cute as Valentine's Day can be, as you see, I like all the hearts. Maybe we should leave this tradition in the past where it belongs. Like, I'll spend the day with somebody I actually know and like. Thanks! I think it might be best if I end today with something a little more silly and whimsical, a little less horrifying. Is anybody out there a fan of turnips? Not from me, but that might be because I associate it with steamed veggies from dinners growing up, and those were not it. Look, my mother was very fond of using a steamer, and I don't know if our family just kept striking out with lemons, or if she didn't know how to use the damn things, but if you eat enough like too mushy or slightly too hard warmed veggies, you never want to look at warmed veggies ever again. Sorry, I know, back on topic I go. So get this. Back in the day when folks threw a Valentine's Day party, it was like the Met Gala of medieval times. Everyone would show up dressed to the nines, having a good time. But here's where it gets a little weird. They would pin these things called tokens to their clothes, which were basically symbols of love. You know, like the infinity sign or cheesy mottos. Like, okay, I guess it's cute, but it's a little much. Don't worry. That's not my point here. There were these love lanterns everywhere. So you'd think, you know, lanterns, okay, soft, romantic, maybe kind of gothic, right? Not so much. These bad boys were made out of hollowed out turnips with candles shoved inside. Because, you know, the thing says, let's celebrate our love like a flaming root vegetable. I'm sorry, just like, picture this. Walking into a room filled with turnip lanterns flickering in the dim light. For me, that sounds like something straight out of a horror movie. And don't even get me started on the smell. Like, I bet the whole place reeked of like burnt vegetable wax. Not exactly the most romantic ambiance, if you ask me. So yeah, as much as I love a good themed party, I think I'll pass on the whole Middle Ages Valentine's Day vibe. And that brings us to the end of our time, which means it's time for me to go back to pining over Rhea Ripley while I down a bunch of cherry cola and cookies. I've been Alexa, your resident ookie spooky girly, and if you enjoyed my ramblings today, could you help us out by giving this video a like, subscribing if you aren't already, hit the bell for more traditional chit chat from us here at Top 5 Scary Videos, and I'll see y'all next time, you lovely spooky people. Happy Hearts Day!